The nervous system.
The nervous system.
The nervous system.
The nervous system.
The nervous system. The nervous system. The nervous system.
The nervous system.
The nervous system. The nervous system.
It's an organ system.
Containing a network of specialized
Called neurons.
that coordinates the actions of an animal and transmits signals.
between different parts of its body.
This system is responsible
For sending, receiving, and interpreting information.
from all parts of the body.
The nervous system monitors and coordinates.
Internal organ function.
And responds to changes.
In external environment.
Do you know how we understand if something is hot or cold? Or when something is sweet or bitter? Okay, it is our nervous system which controls all of our senses like taste, touch, smell, sight, etc. The nervous system controls all the actions of our body. It has two parts, the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. The central nervous system. The central nervous system consists of the brain and the spinal cord. Let's begin with the brain. The average human brain weighs 1.3 to 1.4 kilogram, approximately 3 pounds. The brain contains about 100 billion nerve cells or neurons and trillions of supporting cells. The brain has four major parts: the cerebrum, the limbic system, the cerebellum, and the brainstem. Cerebrum. Cerebrum is the biggest part of the brain. It is the thinking part of the brain and it controls your voluntary muscles, the ones that move when you want them to. The cerebrum has two halves, with one on either side of the head. Some scientists think that the right half helps you think about abstract things like music, colors, and shapes. The left half is said to be more analytical, helping you with math, logic, and speech. The cerebrum has four major lobes: the frontal, parietal, occipital, and temporal lobes. The frontal lobe is associated with reasoning, planning, parts of speech, movement, emotions, and problem solving. The parietal lobe is associated with movement, orientation, recognition, and perception of stimuli. The occipital lobe is associated with visual processing. The temporal lobe is associated with perception and recognition of auditory stimuli, memory, and speech.
The second part of the brain is the limbic system. The limbic system, often referred to as the emotional brain, is found buried within the cerebrum. It appears to be primarily responsible for our emotional life and has a lot to do with the formation of memories. It has four major parts: the thalamus, hypothalamus, amygdala, and hippocampus. The thalamus is a midline symmetrical structure within the brain of vertebrates, including human, situated between the cerebral cortex and midbrain. Its functions include relaying sensory and motor signals to the cerebral cortex along the regulation of consciousness, sleep, and alertness. The hypothalamus is responsible for regulating your hunger, thirst, response to the levels of pleasure, sexual satisfactions, anger and aggressive behavior, and more. The amygdalas are two almond-shaped masses of neurons on either side of the thalamus at the lower end of the hippocampus. When it is stimulated electrically, animals respond with aggression, and if the amygdala is removed, animals get very tame and no longer respond to things that would have caused rage before. The hippocampus consists of two horns that curve back from the amygdala. It appears to be very important converting things that are in your mind at the moment or short-term memory into things that you will remember for a long run or long-term memory. The third part of the brain is the cerebellum. The cerebellum is at the back of the brain below the cerebrum. It controls balance, movement, and coordination. Because of the cerebellum, you can stand upright, keep your balance, and move around.
And for the last part of the brainstem. The brainstem sits beneath the cerebrum and in front of the cerebellum. It connects the rest of the brain to the spinal cord, which runs down to your neck and back. The brainstem is in charge of all the functions your body needs to stay alive, like breathing air, digesting food, and circulating blood. Part of the brainstem's job is to control your involuntary muscles, the ones that work automatically without you even thinking about it. It has three parts: the midbrain, pons, and medulla. The mesencephalon or midbrain is the portion of the brainstem that connects the hindbrain and the forebrain. The pons is the portion of the hindbrain that connects the cerebral cortex with the medulla oblongata. It also serves as a communications and coordination center between the two hemispheres of the brain. The medulla oblongata is the portion of the hindbrain that controls autonomic functions such as breathing, digestion, heart and blood vessel function, swallowing, and sneezing. Let us now proceed to another part of the central nervous system, which is the spinal cord. The spinal cord is about 43 cm long in adult women and 45 cm long in adult men and weighs about 35 to 40 grams. The vertebral column, the collection of bones or backbone that houses the spinal cord, is about 70 centimeters long. Therefore, the spinal cord is much shorter than the vertebral column. The spinal cord is basically the information highway of the body. Messages are sent back and forth between the brain and the rest of the body. Now, let us discuss the second major part of the nervous system, which is the peripheral nervous system. The peripheral nervous system consists of the nerves and ganglia outside of the brain and spinal cord. The main function of the peripheral nervous system is to connect the central nervous system to the limbs and organs. Unlike the central nervous system, the peripheral nervous system is not protected by the bone of spine and skull, or by the blood-brain barrier, leaving it exposed to toxins and mechanical injury. There are two types of cells in the peripheral nervous system. The first type is the sensory nervous cells. Cells of a sensory nervous system send information to the central nervous system from internal organs or from external stimuli. Another type of cell in the peripheral nervous system is the motor nervous cells. Motor nervous system cells carry information from the central nervous system to organs, muscles, and glands. The motor nervous system is divided into the somatic nervous system and the autonomic nervous system. The somatic nervous system controls the skeletal muscle as well as the external sensory organs such as the skin. This system is said to be voluntary because the responses can be controlled consciously. The autonomic nervous system controls the involuntary muscle such as mood and cardiac muscle. This system is called to be involuntary nervous system. The autonomic nervous system can further be divided into the parasympathetic and sympathetic. The parasympathetic division controls various functions which include inhibiting heart rate, constricting pupils, and contracting the bladder. The nerves of the parasympathetic division often have the opposite effect when they are located within the same organs as parasympathetic nerves. Nerves of the parasympathetic division speed up heart rate, dilate pupils, and relaxes the bladder.